Well, as the largest generation yet, millennials have a habit of making, breaking, and changing trends across America. One that's made headlines recently is their influence on relationships. Here to explain why millennials may actually be driving down the divorce rate is our millennial expert, Erin Freeman. Very interesting topic. So let's dive right in. Erin, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Let's talk about why millennials are staying married more than any other generation.
Right, so you and I have talked before how millennials are known for killing products like cereal and corked wine and fabric softener, and it's because they find it inconvenient or they're finding alternatives. So now it appears as though they're killing the divorce industry. So millennial women are much more likely than baby boomer women to stay married, and it's because they're entering their marriages much differently than before.
What were women doing before, and how are millennial women doing things differently now?
So the research was conducted over a 10-year period from 2008 to 2018, and it showed an 18% decrease in divorce rates. And it showed that marriage is becoming more closely linked to higher education and higher income opportunities, especially for women. So millennial couples are putting off getting married because they first want to finish college and then they want to get established in their career, which they equate to financial independence, which is something that they want before they tie the knot.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up finances because that's usually the number one reason for divorce. So let's talk more about that and millennials' thoughts on finances, especially in a marriage.
So, you know, financial difficulties can cause fighting in marriages, and so another way that they are looking to stay happy in their marriages is that they are cohabitating as an alternative to marriage, and they feel that that allows them the opportunity to really get to know their partner before they get married. So that's something that they're doing as an alternative to marriage.
What are some other takeaways in this study?
Well, I found it interesting that, you know, baby boomers, they got married young, they've divorced, they've remarried, and moving into their 60s and their 70s, their divorce rates remain unusually high, whereas millennials face much less stigma to put off getting married, much like Generation X, and that's becoming more socially acceptable. So whereas millennials have been known for instant gratification, they're being patient when it comes to marriage.
I wonder if some of these millennials have actually been through the divorced family, parents that are divorced. Is there anything in the study?
I'm sure. I don't know that there was anything in the study that indicated that specifically, but you would have to imagine that living through the process of seeing your parents get a divorce could have made a tremendous impact and caused them to want to be increasingly selective on how they choose a mate.
Yeah, very interesting. All right, millennials having a lot of impact, driving down to the divorce rate, one of the biggest trends we've seen lately from this group. Thanks so much for coming on, Erin Freeman. We appreciate it.